Hello and welcome back to the channel. Well, today I have for you the German self-propelled gun, the Wespe. Now I have to be careful about naming artillery because in the lead up to this video, where I've been doing some research, there was a few very strong arguments going on online between different groups of people about whether or not this is artillery or whether this was a tank destroyer. Now I have only ever known it as artillery, but I'm going to refer to it as a self-propelled gun so that these people just don't take pot shots at me. But the usual story, 60-second speed build, some pics, and then we'll get the review going. Let's crack on and build. Welcome back. Right, usual format. Instructions first of all. You'll like these. I have some, to be fair, they are gloss printed sheets of instructions, which in themselves, you know, whether it's a sheet, whether it's a book, as long as it gets the job done, it doesn't really make that much difference. However, these are not the greatest. These are certainly sub-average, and principally for the way that, as you start building up the chassis, you do some of the sides, and then it wants you to work in the middle, inside the middle, and of course you can't really see inside the middle. It's not uncommon in a lot of the phases to have, say, 6 or 7 bricks. 5 or 6 of those bricks go on absolutely fine. There's not a problem at all, but then you completely have to guess where the 7th brick goes, and sometimes you can't even do that. It's not then until a couple of stages later, when they've flipped the model round from, say, looking at it like that to looking at it like that, you suddenly realise where that missing brick was supposed to go. So it is a little bit annoying. However, what works for it is it's not a particularly big model, as you can tell. It's about 15 centimeters long, something like that, by only about 8 wide. So the fact that the size actually does help, because it's not going to be that difficult really to work out. But yeah, I was, as you can imagine, thrilled when I saw these. So anyway, yes, definitely sub-average, and you will need your wits about you to work it out. Now, everything was here. There is, I don't know, a dozen or so bricks spare, and nothing is warped. Now, normally at this point I will turn around and tell you that all the bricks are the same colour. Aha, well, they're not. Now, I don't know if this is going to show up particularly well on camera, but let's take, for instance, this side panel here. Now, ignoring the German cross there, that 4x1 panel there is a slightly different shade to this 1x3 here, and they're both different shades from this 2x2 flat panel here, and that is actually replicated throughout. I did wonder when I was doing this, to be honest with you, whether or not I got a returned model. And one of the reasons for that, I mean, when you get the bags, it's very common, some bits will be stuck to other bits, but usually they're not really stuck down with force, where you need your little brick tool to start prising them open. It's very, very common for them to get stuck inside. The small ones get stuck inside, but not actually to be pressed on. And there was a lot on this. So I'm still not convinced that this was not a returned model, perhaps with some bits missing, and then they've filled those bits and then sent it out to me. But a lot of the flat panels are different colours now. Fortunately, because it's all a sort of dark grey, it does actually reasonably work. It gives it almost a repaired sort of look, where panels have been added over a period of time as others have got dented and damaged and that sort of thing. So in that respect, it perhaps adds to the authenticity of it. Yeah, just be aware that there are some discoloured panels here. Now, as far as the overall design goes, I think the overall design is really good for what the Wespe was, and certainly when you compare it to any pictures that you find online, it's right up there. Now, one of the things that I found, again, when I was researching this, because this is a relatively sort of niche vehicle, you don't get that many models in them. In fact, I was only able to find 3. This one, which was an AliExpress special and completely unbranded, which I'll talk about in a minute. But I think actually, as far as accuracy of build and the details, is pretty good. There was one by, I think it was Brick Meat, some years ago, and I think the design on this is better than that. However, that does have a gun, I believe, that does elevate. This gun is fixed, or at least I can't work out a way to elevate it, not without ripping off of the inside there. And Kobe, actually, funny enough, so today is the we're the 10th of November. Kobe have actually got a model on pre-order that's coming out, I believe, on either the 13th or the 17th. I'll pop it up somewhere on the screen here when it's coming out. But obviously, with it being Kobe, as accurate as it looks, there's a considerable difference on the price. So normally I'll get into the price later in the video, but this, with taxes and shipping, cost me £20.03. Kobe one is on pre-order for £89.99. Fair difference there. And the Brick Meat one, if you can still get them, they're around the £70 mark. So fair difference in price. And really, it does come down to the price, because the actual building of this, it's not a lot of fun. It's very, very fiddly. There's lots and lots of the single 1x1 flat bricks that you use, and sometimes you use 4 of them, and I kept looking at it thinking, well, why not just use a 4x1? It's a lot more secure, but it is the way it is. So yeah, it's not the greatest piece count. It doesn't obviously say on those bits of paper, but I would say this is around the 500 piece mark, and it could have been done easily for 250, 300 pieces. When if you took out a lot of the silly little faffing around. One of the annoying things about the silly little faffing around is it does make it fragile. Although the finished model isn't too bad, this sort of glacis at the front here, and so obviously this was based on a slightly modified Panzer II chassis, slightly elongated, but that is on a hinge and is a little bit delicate. I'll give them their due on the fighting sort of compartment casement here. They've got the angles working really nicely, but again, they're on hinges, and while it's not the actual panels themselves, it's the seating of the hinges which it can make it a little bit fragile. So it just seems unnecessarily complicated, and almost a make work sort of thing in the model. So from that respect, it's a bit irritating. And as far as I'm aware, I cannot find a manufacturer on this. I suspect, with the way the instructions are, if somebody came around and said in the comments and said, "Oh yes, it's Whodunnit," I wouldn't be at all surprised. I'm pretty sure it's not Slubin, Sembo, Panlos, J-Star, and I can't think of anybody else really who it might be other than Jiaquan, but this is unnamed. But Jiaquan certainly have done this sort of panelling before to different degrees of success. So yeah, I'm not entirely sure who this is. And these drive wheels are just, to be honest with you, pathetic the way that they've been put on. I mean, they don't rotate around. Whip one off quickly. It's just literally you put the wheels on a single round one bobbin and pop it in. So the tracks do go around the drive wheels, but sorry, the drive wheels at the end, but not the road wheels. They do not turn. So overall, if it was anything other than the way it looks, I would say don't bother. But it does look the part, and one of the reasons I got there, years ago I used to play World of Tanks, and before they had the artillery nerf, this thing used to be an absolute beast. So I have very fond memories of this thing. The splash damage in it was immense. So that's one of the reasons I got this Wespe, which I believe means wasp in German. Although Google Translate did not know this, apparently. So yeah, again, that's one of the reasons why I got this, and I'm very glad I've got it and I've built it, but I didn't enjoy the process of getting there. I think that's probably the best way of describing this. So if you have got a burning desire to get a German SPG, or like me, you have very fond memories of it in World of Tanks before it was nerfed, then yeah, this is not bad. I think it's slightly overpriced, although to be fair, with AliExpress, the price I think I would have paid for it would have been about £12, and then you have taxes and you have postage on top, and it would have come in with a lot of other models. So the postage, I just split it between them equally, so you might find it might come in slightly cheaper for you. But yeah, I think it's probably slightly overpriced for what it is, although in comparison to the Brickmate and the Kobe ones, it's fantastic value. So there we go, one Wespe. Finished model was good, pain in the backside to get there though, and the instructions are terrible. So hopefully you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you again soon. You take care. Bye bye.